So good afternoon to all of you. Today let us look at this optional public administration. We will see why this optional is important, what is the syllabus of this optional, and what are the sources, and we will also see how we are going to proceed with this optional. We'll try to see how we are going to proceed with this optional. So in 2013, UPSC made changes to the syllabus. After making changes to the syllabus, they have removed one optional and kept one optional. And if you look at it from 2013 onwards till 2025, what is common is that even though UPSC has removed one optional to ensure level playing field, the remaining one optional has become very important from examination point of view. Why? Because unless and until if you are getting good marks in this optional, you will not be able to get into services. So your chances of getting good rank, then good service and good cadre, all of them depend on your performance in the optional, even after UPSC made the changes to the syllabus. Then the next question is how to select this optional, and what should be the criteria. As you know, there are so many options which are popular optionals, but how you are going to select your option, especially normally what the candidates do is that whatever they have studied in their graduation, they select that optional, whatever they have studied. But again, there are certain things like mathematics or physics. They are very, the standard is also very high, quality is also very high. You have to compete with the people from IITs and other things. So that is when there is more demand for other generic optionals. Generic optionals means those optionals which are too general, which does not require any kind of a specific skills or knowledge. So people are looking for those kind of optionals. And so when you are choosing those generic optionals, what is the criteria, how you are going to select that optional, and how you are going to proceed with that optional. So what is the criteria here? Let us take out those people. For example, a student from medical science background would be taking medical science optional because that's what he has studied, and it should not be a problem for him. Similarly, a student from mathematics or physics or chemistry or electrical engineering, they will be taking those things. But what about others? What is the criteria? So what is the criteria for selecting the optional? The first criteria for selecting the optional is the syllabus. So first and foremost, you have to look at the syllabus. The second criteria is the time period to complete the optional. What is the amount of time needed to complete the optional? There are some popular optionals which they take around at least 12 to 14 months also. Some of the popular teachers here teach optional for even 14 months also. Can you afford to spend 14 months sorry, only on optional, and then you need another 14 months on GS? So is it can you afford to spend almost 2.5 years only on a preparation before giving your first attempt? Obviously it is difficult. So the second one is time period. Third one is the aptitude you have for that particular optional. Third one is the aptitude you have that for that particular optional. What does it mean? Whether you have that kind of innate ability to learn that optional or not. when you have that kind of interest, whether you have that kind of skills, ability to learn, that optional. And the fourth one that you have to look for is the contribution of that optional. Contribution of that optional for your general studies. This is the most important one. Why? Because if the optional is contributing for your GS preparation significantly, it reduces that much amount of time for your general studies preparation also. If you are taking something like mathematics or physics, they might be scoring, but they will not be contributing anything to your GS preparation, because whatever the knowledge that you are gaining there will not be of much help for you in your GS preparation. Contribution of that optional. And then fifth criteria is when you are selecting the optional, the study material that is available. Nowadays, with the help of the internet and everything else, study material is not a problem at all. Any optional, you will get a good study material also. And the sixth criteria is the guidance. Do you have proper guidance for that optional or not? Again, nowadays, again with the YouTube and online classes, you have guidance available for almost every optional. And the seventh criteria is the performance of that optional. That means how many of the students from that optional are getting into services. Because as I said, if you take in the last 12 years, 13 years, it is optional that is ultimately deciding your service rank and cadre also. So normally what UPSC does is that when it comes to this one, performance, it ensures uniformity. Uniformity in terms of performance. What does it mean? Whatever may be that optional, only that select number of people will be there in that services. For example, if you look at before last year, data available. From public administration, around say 9.6% of people who have taken public administration got into services. From sociology, it was 9.4%. From sociology, it is 9.4%. And again, from political science, it is around 9.5% or 9.6%, like that only. So almost each and every optional, the same percentage of people will be getting into services from each and every optional, because UPSC wanted to ensure what is called normalization. That means no optional should be suffering more, no optional should be gaining any additional advantage also. So these are all the things that we have to take into consideration. So let us look at all these things from our public administration point of view. Let us say all these things from our public administration point of view. Starting with the syllabus. The syllabus of public administration is very less, very compact. Maximum you will be completing in maximum 4 months. It does not take more than 4 months also to complete the syllabus. In 3.5 months we will complete it. In a maximum you have around 85 to 90 classes for public administration, because syllabus is very less, very less. So second, as I said, time period, in a maximum 4 months you will be completing the entire syllabus, because syllabus is very less. And do you have aptitude? You must have aptitude. Why? Because all of you are going to be administrators. You are preparing for civil services examination, where all of you are going to be future administrators. It means that you must have aptitude for administration. Whatever the optional you are taking, at the end of the day, you must have that aptitude for administration. If you are taking public administration, automatically you will be developing that kind of aptitude also. Right? Next one is contribution. This is where we talk about public administration the most. If you look at the contribution here, if you look at the contribution here, contribution of public administration, almost 80% of the syllabus of public administration is there in your general studies. 80% of syllabus is there in your general studies. People don't know these things. 80% of the syllabus is there in general studies. That means whether you are taking public administration optional or not, whether you are taking pub-ed optional or not, you have to study all those things for general studies. You have to study all those things for general studies. So if you are taking public administration optional, means that much of the syllabus of general studies can be easily covered with your public administration, and that is the biggest advantage. People don't know these things. As I take up the syllabus also, I'll explain all those things, where you find all those topics in your syllabus. I said almost 80% of syllabus is there in general studies papers, and that is the reason why we say only one thing. We say that if you are good with your general studies, automatically you will be good with our public administration, and if you are good with your public administration, you will always be good with general studies. In the last 12 years, if you see last 12-13 years, if you see the pattern is very simple here. What is it? Those who are scoring very well in public administration invariably scored well in all GS papers. Those who have scored very well in public administration. A few years back, one of our students was a top ranker. He got #1 rank with the public administration, and his scores in GS paper 2, 3 and 4 are the best, including essay. Why? Because that is what we say. There is so much of similarity between the optional and the GS papers. If you are good with your optional, you will automatically be good with your GS, and that is the reason why, as we proceed with our syllabus also, what we are going to do is that whenever we are discussing a particular topic, I will always try to cover the questions that were asked in the GS papers also. Please remember, the same questions are repeated in both the GS and optional. The same questions are repeated. Why? Because at the end of the day, all of you are going to be administrators, and that is why UPSC now focusing more on administration. They look at, they would like to see whether you have that kind of administrative aptitude or not. Forget about mains only. Even in prelims also this year, 3 questions are directly only from public administration. There was a question in prelims that was asking about esprit de corps. Nobody knows what is esprit de corps, because they have not studied public administration. But UPSC have recognized, it has recognized the fact that what is needed is only the knowledge of administration. They have belatedly recognized the fact that they are recruiting only administrators, and those who are getting into services should have knowledge of administration. That is the reason why they are moving both in both in the mains as well as GS, mains as well as prelims about administration. Next, guidance, of course, and performance, as I said, is always good. As I said, it is one of the best performing optionals. It is one of the best performing optionals. So this is what you have to do while selecting the optional. And from public administration point of view, as I said, all of them really match with the demands. For example, just to take make a comparison with public administration and a popular option like political science. As we study, public administration is only one part of political science, one small part of political science. In political science, they will study public administration, but they will study only in entire public administration. They will be studying only this much, but they have to study so much also in political science. They have to study so many political philosophers. They have to study so much of political thought. So public administration is only one part of political science, and that is the reason why, as I said, it does not take us more than 3.5 months, or maximum 4 months to complete the syllabus. It does not take us more than 3.5 or 4 months to complete the syllabus. Maximum, as I said, around 85 to 90 classes. Then you will be completing the syllabus. 85, 90 classes. So that is where, as I said, it has so much of advantage over other optionals. And of course, the most important reason is that, as I said, all of you are going to be administrators. If you are going to be an administrator, what is the knowledge you must have? What is the knowledge you must possess? If you are going to be an administration, what is the knowledge you must possess? If you are an engineer, you need the knowledge of engineering. If you are a doctor, you need knowledge of medical science. If you are a lawyer, you need knowledge of law. And if you are an administrator, you need knowledge of administration. And that is the reason why when you go to Labasna, Lal Bhadri Shastri National Academy of Administration, when you go to Labasna, what are they teaching you? As part of training, they will be teaching you only public administration. They will teach you only public administration. When you go to Labasna, they teach you only public administration because you are going to be administrator. And that is the reason why it is not only helpful now, after you get into services also, it will be helpful for you. Let us look at the sources. What are the sources for public administration? Let us look at the sources. What you have to study. What are the sources for public administration? What are the sources for public administration? First, there is a book called Administrative Thinkers. For all the thinkers, you have to go through this book, Administrative Thinkers by Prasad and Prasad. For paper 1, this is the most important source. For paper 1, Administrative Thinkers by Prasad and Prasad. For paper 1. Right, all the thinkers, you can find them. Next, public administration, theory and concepts. By Fadia and Fadia. This is for paper 1. FADIA. BL Fadia and Kuldeep Fadia. Fadia and Fadia. For paper 1 by Fadia and Fadia. Next, what are the other books? For paper 2, Indian administration, for paper 2, Indian administration, there is a book called Indian Public Administration. Indian Public Administration by Goyal and Arora. Rajni Goyal and Arora. Indian Public Administration by Rajni Goyal and Arora. This is a book called Indian Public Administration. Then you can also go through Indian Polity by Lakshmikant. Indian Polity by Lakshmikant. It is also a good book. Indian Polity by Lakshmikant. Indian Polity by Lakshmikant. Right? Indian Public Administration by Rajni Goyal and Arora. And Indian Polity by Lakshmikant. But again, as I said, public administration is a highly dynamic subject. So you don't have to read too many books, but you have to go through so many other sources. What are they? Second Administrative Reforms Commission in 2009. Second Administrative Reforms Commission in 2009 has submitted 15 reports. has submitted 15 reports. Second Administrative Reforms Commission in 2009 has submitted 15 reports. All those reports are very important for our public administration. I will be giving you the synopsis of all those reports also. Similarly, Panchy Commission on center-state relations. It has submitted 7 reports on center-state relations. It has submitted 7 reports. Again, I will give you synopsis of those reports, right? Next, what else you have to go through? Next, you have to go through Niti Aayog reports. Please remember, these are all important for your general studies papers also. UPSC will not go beyond government sources. Niti Aayog reports, very important. Then economic survey. Economic survey. Then RBI, Reserve Bank of India, annual reports. RBI, Reserve Bank of India, annual reports. Reserve Bank of India, annual reports. Right? Apart from this, you must be going through at least 2 newspapers every day. Hindu and Indian Express. 2 newspapers every day. Hindu and Indian Express. Because entire public administration is only about current events. It is only about current events, nothing else. It is only about current events. So you will be going through this Hindu and Indian Express. So you have to read very less conventional books. The only book that you have to go through is Administrative Thinkers by Prasad and Prasad. Otherwise, there is no other standard book as such. Since you are reading a polity, Lakshmikant, that will be very useful for your Indian administration also. And then for Indian administration, one standard book, as I said, Indian Public Administration by Rajni Goyal and Arora, the latest edition. That should be fine because he covers current events also. But again, the latest edition also can become outdated because every day things will keep on changing. And again, as I said, this is very important. The Hindu and Indian Express. That is the reason why what I will be doing is that as part of our classes every day, at least for 1 month every day, towards the end of the class, I will be taking up one newspaper and I will tell you what to read from that newspaper, both from your GS and optional point of view, because as I said, there is not that much of difference between our optional and GS papers. The same questions are repeated. Internal security is there in both the papers. Disaster management is there in both the papers. Polity is there in both the papers. Economy is there both in the papers. Social issues are there in both the papers. Everything is there. And everything is related to only current events. Entire ethics is there in your public administration. That is the reason why you will be going through, we will be going through the newspapers every day. And then, apart from this, what I will be doing, I will also give you the notes, entire notes. In updated notes, I will be giving you updated study material. I will give you the updated study material. But again, as I said, it keeps on changing. Especially Indian administration, you have to keep on updating the current events. Otherwise, I will be giving you the updated study material. And in our class, it can be both, I will discuss everything, then I will also dictate the notes. Discuss and dictate. so that you have your hand written notes also. And in fact, what I have done, I have taken this handwritten notes only, got it typed, so that it becomes easier for you to read also. I'll give you the latest batch handwritten notes also. Everything will be given, and that should be more than sufficient for you. Beyond that, you don't have to go through anything else. So this is what and this is how we will be proceeding. So before I take up the newspapers, if you have any doubts, you can ask. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Any doubts about, yeah. See, ideally by December, you should be completing the answer writing also for optional. If you are looking for 2027. The only good thing with the public administration is that I said, it is completely related to current events. So when you are studying polity, you are studying for public administration. When you are studying internal security, you are studying for public administration. So it is not like other optionals wherein the syllabus is completely segregated. That is the reason why right now what you can do is that you can focus on the paper 1. Enter Indian administration you will be doing later also. But ideally it would be better if you complete the optional along with the answer writing also by December, which should not be difficult at all. And of course we will have tests also. We have class tests also. Almost every week we can have one test, right? Then we have both this offline and online also. I think it will be hybrid course. You can attend offline and online also, right? And but I would prefer if you are in Delhi, it is better you attend classroom, because nothing can substitute classroom. In the classroom you can ask questions directly, you can have personal interaction, and you can write 1 or 2 answers and you can show it to me also before the class, right? So if you are in Delhi, it would be better if you are attending classroom. Of course, if you are not in Delhi, then online would be a better option. Any other question? Anything else? I will be giving you this synopsis of all these things. Second Administrative Reforms Commission, I will give you the synopsis. Panchi Commission, I will give you the synopsis. And then all the latest current events also I will be telling you, because as I said, it is all about only current events. Every day I will be taking up the newspaper also. As I told you, I will take up the newspaper and I will tell you what to read from the newspaper. Anything else? Yeah. Is there any source to cover? Government press releases. PIB is there, Press Information Bureau. But again, it comes out with at least every day 20-25 releases, which is almost impossible for you. That is the reason why how to cover those things also I will be telling you in the class. If you look at this year's prelims examination, almost all the questions were directly asked from only newspapers and government sources. Almost all the questions in your GS. I will be telling you also all those things. Right? Now, let me take up today's newspaper and tell you how to, yeah. You can go through that also. Lakshmikant has 2-3 books. In a public administration, he had one more book for public administration also, but that for prelims. But that book is also good for mains. So, but again, you can go through Lakshmikant's Indian administration. It is also a good book. But again, UPSC is focusing only on current events. That's most important. So, let us look at today's newspaper. In fact, this is about all the editorials from various newspapers. Let us take this is today's Indian Express. I said very, very important newspaper reading. This world, you have IR is there, international relations. And if you look at it, every year in your mains, 4 questions are only from international relations. Section A in GS paper 2, 2 questions, and section B, 2 questions. But again, you will be reading every day. This page will be there in the newspaper. That means every day you have 1 page. 365 days, 365 pages. Is it possible for you to read all the 365 pages or remember? No. That is the reason why you have to identify what is important. Trump warns of communist cancer at a campaign style July 4th speech. 4th July is the Independence Day of the United States of America. This year they are celebrating 250th Independence Day also. But again, this is completely political news, so you can leave it. 3 sons of Khomeini appear at funeral, but not his successor. Again, it's not required, right? Then cargo ship under attack in Red Sea of Yemen, British. These kind of maps are very important for you, especially in your prelims. So if you want, you can go through, but again, that's not important. Trump offers to help Putin, Zelensky find a way to end Ukraine war. This Ukraine war is going on for so many years. It will continue for another few years also. Even after you get into services also, it will continue. So don't worry about that, right? Then no phones, ban on social media, tell us with wedding, and again, that's not required for you. So this is today is Monday only, no? Right? Yeah. So let us see. Armed forces seek larger retention of Agniveers after end of 4-year tenure. Again, this can be asked in your prelims Agniveer, but not in mains. If at all it can be asked, it can also be in your GS paper 3 internal security. But again, UPSC is not asking these kind of things because it is too specific. So you can leave it. Every day you must make sure that you are completing your newspaper reading in maximum 1.5 hour time. How to complete it? Identifying what is to be read. This you can leave it. Panel probing a quota maternal deaths, flags lapses in monitoring and infection control. This is part of your health, a topic which is there in your US paper 2, health administration. The questions in our Indian administration also nowadays are asking about health administration. If you can find any kind of important things, you can go through, but it is not important. Why? Because this was an investigation carried out by Indian Express newspaper regarding the very poor health facilities in government hospitals. So that's not much important, right? Direct seeded rice gains traction among farmers amid El Nino shadow on monsoon. This is important. These things can be asked in your prelims. Right now in agriculture, they are asking only these kind of questions, especially in your prelims. So this article becomes very important for you. This article, you have to go through. This article will be important. Direct seeded rice. These are the things which they are asking in your GS. This year also good number of questions in your prelims were asked only from agriculture. So you can go through this article, right? Then this is about World Cup football, not required. Trust meeting today, not required. One night at CGP protest, crash course in politics and ex-mall workers stream, not required. These are all political news. Page 2 will be mostly articles from page 1 repeated here. So you can forget about these things. And then this is advertisement. This is about city, Delhi. Already you are committing very grave sin by staying in the city. You don't have to commit one more sin by studying about the city also. So you can leave it. From examination point of view, they are not at all required. Then this is Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, BJP's founder. You can leave it. EV mandate. These things can be asked in your prelims as part of science and technology. EV, electronic vehicles, but not important that much from your GS. But again, in your GS paper 3 environment, they can ask you these kind of things. EVs, how they are going to protect our environment. Otherwise, not much important. You can leave it. Then politics. Politics is not required for you. Politics is not important for you. This page you can leave it. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, RSS. These things are not important for you. Why NDA faces hurdles in fresh women quota bill push? Again, that's not important for you. Nation. Government issues notice to Meta and Insta ads linked to child sex abusers. This is about social media. The questions are asked. Last year, the question on social media was asked in your ethics paper. Ethical issues involved in social media. There you are talking about all these things. You can just only remember the headline. Beyond that, nothing else. 7 dead in Mumbai. AMD issues. Very heavy rain alert in 7 cities. These things are not required. Editorial page becomes very important. El Nino and Iran sharpened food price challenge. Very important. You have to go through this article. How El Nino and Iran have resulted in higher food prices. From the Iran conflict, 4 geopolitical shifts India cannot afford to miss. Vikram Mehta, he writes really well on public policy. You have to go through his article. And you can just prepare a synopsis of this article, because that is what they are asking you in your IR, international relations nowadays. Next, in AI age, America will need to lead with a renewed generosity. Again, not much important. Cockroaches and reckoning without unkept promises, not required. Ideas page. This person, Ashok Gulati, he writes really well on your agriculture. And if you take last year's UPSC's GS Indian economy, paper 3, every year 3 questions are asked only from agriculture. And you will be surprised to know that all the 3 questions are only from the articles written by Ashok Gulati. So whenever he writes any article in Indian Express about agriculture, you must immediately read that article and prepare a synopsis. Rise to ethanol policies deepening economic and environmental stress. Very important. Very important article. This question can be asked in your economy, agriculture. It can be asked in your environment. Again, GS paper 3. And he writes really well. Then the PM's Indonesia visit could lay foundation for in a naked diplomacy. Again, let him come out and then we'll find out. West Asia has made India more energy secure. Important. How West Asia has made India more energy secure. This is important from your IR point of view, international relations. Next, AI is reshaping war. How India can keep pace. Nowadays, a very good number of questions can be asked about AI. The entire thing only about AI only, artificial intelligence. But again, this is specifically related to war, you can leave it. Next, economy. 2 crore informal workers in India's big cities. The questions will be asked in your GS paper 1 as part of social issues. Informal workers. Hyderabad tops the list with 15.7 lakhs. You have to go through these articles, because they will be asking only these things as part of society and social issues. Next, EV surge, these things are not important. Ideas page. He is the Chief Minister of Assam, but not required. it's mostly political thing, so you can leave it. Then what is this? Your health, not required. Calendar, not required. Sports pages you can leave. Sports pages you can leave. So if you look at it every day, you should not be taking more than around 2.5 hours for reading the newspapers, both the newspapers. Yeah. See, the only thing is that how much information can you retain? That is what you have to see. That is the reason why in prelims, you are not looking for 100 questions. You are looking only for 50 questions. So don't worry. You cannot remember everything. It is impossible. Can you retain everything? Very difficult. So when you are reading it, it looks very important. Come back and see that same news item after 1 month. Then you know that it is irrelevant. That is the reason why don't worry to don't think too much about reading everything. You cannot remember everything. Tomorrow onwards I will take up in the Hindu newspaper and I will tell you what to read also. So that is what it is. Any other doubt you have? Yeah. That is very important. Whatever the articles I have mentioned, you read it and prepare a synopsis. That is very. Yes, you can use it, provided AI also will write your answers in the UPSC examination. If you can delegate the same thing to AI in the mains, then it is fine. Otherwise, prepare it on your own only. Never, because you have to develop at the end of the day. If you are hungry, you have to eat. So, after some point of time, you can ask AI to prepare the synopsis. But first, learn preparing the synopsis on your own. That's very important. Yes. Can you completely neglect? Sports news, what you can do is that sports news, you can remember the important things. For example, this year also, they have asked questions about Wimbledon and all those Grand Slams. Nobody knows answers to those kind of questions. That is the thing. Just go through only who has won major tournaments in badminton, football, cricket, and all these kind of things, tennis. Otherwise, you can forget it. Maybe you will get this current events magazine also. They will cover that sports news. Just go through from that. Otherwise, it's not required. Yeah. That's what daily newspaper. The synopsis you are preparing should be your primary source, and monthly magazines will be your secondary source to see if you have not covered anything from the newspapers. Otherwise, you have to do it on your own. Don't solely depend on monthly magazines. Every day you have to prepare the synopsis. Take at least 2.5 hours for reading the newspapers, and prepare the synopsis on your own. Then only go to monthly magazines. That's what. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. See, that is the reason why what you have to do is that whenever you see any topic reading in the newspapers, coming in the newspapers, immediately go through the previous year's questions to see whether any question related to that topic has been asked or not. Then you will come to know. Reverse engineering, go through the questions, because otherwise it becomes very, very difficult. Now your syllabus is divided into a few parts. In your GS, you have polity, you have economy, you have science and technology, you have environment, you have geography, you have international relations, you have internal security, you have disaster management. These are all the things that you find in the newspapers. History you don't find in the newspapers. Ethics you don't find in the newspapers. These are all the things, and you can easily divide looking at the news. And of course, you have governance, those things. You can easily divide that one. It's not a difficult thing. And to know whether a particular article is important or not, immediately, as I said, go to previous year's question papers. If the questions have been asked, that means it is important. That is what we have to identify. And you will come to know about it once you do the things. Right? Where it can be asked. You are reading the newspapers not for the sake of reading the newspaper, only for the sake of UPSC examination. Where is that article important? Where it can be asked? It can be asked in internal security. It can be asked in science and technology. Right? In science and technology, they will ask about the impact of AI on overall society, not only on defense sector. So it's not important. Internal security, they will not ask. That's the reason why. That's how you have to identify. So that is it. I think tomorrow I think we have a class at 2 o'clock, and we'll be starting with the first topic. Right? Tomorrow 2 o'clock, and you can come, and we'll be starting with the first topic. Right.